When you definitely hear that sound, you know, of course, it is the English Premier League making a comeback after a 3-month hiatus. Now it is time for the English Premier League to make a comeback. It has been a very long time and a very long 3 months for the fans to wait, and of course it is making a comeback. The most prestigious league in the world, that is the English Premier League. And we have so many matches on the card, and before we get to that, remember to view, like, subscribe and share, and also drop a comment on the comment section down below. Let's get interactive across all social media platforms, and on Facebook I'm at Molo Collins. Keep on viewing and let's do this together. And we have so many matches on the card, and the first match, it will be an opener between Manchester City and Burnley, and Burnley is at home at Turf Moor against the champions, that is Manchester City, under the tutelage of Pep Guardiola. Well, Pep Guardiola is facing a very familiar face, that is in the name of Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany, remember, that once played for Manchester City and captained Manchester City side for about a decade. And Vincent Kompany is being applauded for bringing back Burnley back to the top flight football from the Championship last season, and they managed to win the competition and lift the Championship Cup, which guaranteed them a ticket to the English Premier League this season, that is 2023-2024 season. Well, Manchester City, of course, many are pitting Manchester City to have a walkover in this match, and many are saying that Manchester City, of course, is going to carry the day against his former student, that is Vincent Kompany. Well, the match will be played at 12, that is in UK's time. Now let's move on to the other fixtures. The other fixtures will be played on Saturday, and we see that Arsenal, who were contenders for the league last season, is facing Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, of course, is not a new team. Nottingham Forest, remember, participated in the English Premier League last season, and they managed to stay afloat in the season and avoiding relegation. Well, Arsenal will be at Emirates Stadium at home, and they'll be hosting Nottingham Forest, and of course it's going to be a very interesting match, considering that Arsenal last season were on a very good form throughout the season, but finally Manchester City managed to lift that cup. So Arsenal, I think that Arsenal is going to carry the day when they face Nottingham Forest at Emirates Stadium, that is in London. It will be a 4:30 p.m. kickoff, Kenyan local time. The other fixture is pitting Bournemouth against West Ham. Remember that West Ham is under the tutelage of David Moyes, and this match will be played at Vitality Stadium, that is the home ground of Bournemouth. Remember that Bournemouth last season, 2022-2023 season, managed to stay in the Premier League, and they avoided relegation. And on that match, I think that it's not going to be a very easy match, considering that Bournemouth is also an attacking team, and West Ham, on the other hand, is not a pushover. So in this match, I'm predicting a 1.5 for you people who like to place bets and people who like betting. Now let's move to the other match. We see that Brighton is hosting Luton. Remember that Luton has just managed to get in the top flight football for after a very long time in the cold, and they'll be meeting Brighton at Amex Stadium, Falmer. I remember that Brighton last season had a very decent season by all standard. So I think that this match against Brighton, of course, Brighton is going to carry the day. Luton, on the other hand, is not a very known team. So I think that, of course, it won't be an easy match, but I think Brighton has all it takes to go ahead and win this match. That match will be played 7 p.m. Kenyan local time. Let's move on to Everton, and Everton will be hosting Fulham at Goodison Park, that is in Liverpool, and Everton under the tutelage of Sean Dyche, and Fulham, of course, under the Spanish tactician. And Everton last season, remember that they managed to avoid relegation by a whisker. It was a race between Nottingham Forest, Everton, and of course Leicester, which was relegated. So I think that Sean Dyche this time round, I think that is going to make some changes, and it is going to be a very interesting match between these two teams. Now let's move on to the other fixture. The other fixture is pitting Sheffield United. Sheffield United, remember, are making a comeback into top flight football after a long time in the cold also, and they are facing at Crystal Palace at Bramall Lane, Sheffield. Sheffield, of course, will be at home, and I think that this match between Crystal Palace and Sheffield United, I think that Crystal Palace is going to take the 3 points. And for those also who like betting and placing bets, I think that Crystal Palace and Sheffield match is going to be a match that is going to be a score of 2 and above goals. Now I don't think that we have so much to talk about Crystal Palace and Sheffield United. Now let's move to Newcastle United, and Newcastle United is hosting Aston Villa and at St James Park, Newcastle. That is the home ground of Newcastle. Newcastle under the tutelage of a very able coach, former Bournemouth tactician, and is now the current Newcastle head coach. I remember that Newcastle will be playing Champions League next season under Eddie Howe, and they've made so much signing this season, just acquiring some big names in the circle of football. Aston Villa, on the other side, also is under a very experienced and a very passionate coach in the name of Unai Emery. Remember that Unai Emery is a very successful coach in the history of the Europa League competition, and he has managed to win a total of 4 cups, and in that reign he managed to win a treble in the European competition, that is the Europa League competition. And he also did the same, also managing Villarreal, and he also managed to win that competition. So pitting these two great tactician, I think that is going to be a very explosive match between Newcastle and Aston Villa. And also my prediction is that this match is going to be 1.5 for those who like placing bets. Now let's move on to Saturday, that is the 13th of August 2023, and we see that Brentford the Bees is facing Spurs at Take Community Stadium in Brentford. And as a matter of time, we've heard already that Harry Kane is on the verge of joining the Bavarians, that is the Bayern Munich. And I think that as Tottenham losing Harry Kane is going to be a very big blow, considering that Harry Kane was their top scorer last season and he came second runners-up behind Erling Haaland. So this match is not going to be an easy match between Brentford and Spurs, now that Spurs are about to let Harry Kane move to Germany. Now let's move on now to the crunch match, and I think that this is the match of the weekend, and what an opening to the English Premier League. Pitting Chelsea and Liverpool, the match will be played at Stamford Bridge in London. Chelsea, of course, under the tutelage of Pochettino, and Liverpool, of course, under the tutelage. Match of the weekend is pitting Chelsea under the tutelage of Pochettino, who is making a comeback after 2 years hiatus and is making it again into the English Premier League against a very experienced man in the name of Jurgen Klopp. I remember that this match will be played in London, that is Stamford Bridge. Well, Chelsea have let so many players go, and the one particular position that I'm wondering why Chelsea let so many players to go is that of midfield. They've left the likes of N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, and recently Kovacic, who has joined Manchester City. And on the other side, news is just coming to us is that Liverpool are about to make a move for Moses Caicedo, and I think this move of Caicedo is going to shatter the English Premier League record, which is currently held by Declan Rice at £105 million. So this match against Liverpool and Chelsea, for me, I think it's going to be a draw, or maybe for those who like betting, I think that is going to be over 1.5, that is 2 goals and above. Now let's get on to our last match, which will be played on Monday, and we see that Manchester United will be facing another fixture. We see that Manchester United will be facing Wolverhampton Wanderers, that is at Old Trafford Stadium, that is in Manchester. Remember that Manchester have acquired the services of Andre Onana and also Mason Mount, and recently they've also acquired the services of Højlund. This is a Danish international. Wolves, on the other hand, also we see that it's not an easy team to play against, and they still have the likes of Moutinho, and I predict that Manchester United is going to carry the day in this fixture, and also it is going to be over 1 goal. So I think that Manchester United will have a win in this fixture. Well, that has been all from us today, and of course we are so excited and waiting for the English Premier League to make a comeback after a 3-month hiatus. Let's get interactive on the comments section area, and also on Facebook. I'm at Molo Collins, and across all social media platforms. Remember to view, like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification button so that you can be amongst the first ones to be notified when we do drop a new content. Well, I've been your able host, Molo Collins. Let's do this again next time. It is bye-bye for now.